I never thought grief could turn into betrayal so quickly. When my father passed away, it felt like the ground beneath me had been ripped apart. My nights were heavy with silence, my days filled with condolences that barely touched the storm inside me. I was a son mourning the man who raised me, and all I wanted was time to breathe, to heal, to find my way through the darkness. But while I was drowning in that silence, my wife, Anna, was already moving in a direction I couldn't have imagined. In those first weeks after the funeral, I became quiet. I wasn't angry, I wasn't bitter, I was just broken. My world had shifted, and I struggled to put words to the emptiness inside. Anna said she understood. She held my hand at the service, whispered, "Take all the time you need." I believed her. I trusted her. I thought marriage meant carrying each other through storms, even if the winds knocked one of us to the ground. But slowly, things began to feel off. She was out more often, saying she was visiting friends, going shopping, running errands that never seemed to end. When she was home, she was distracted, her phone lighting up more than usual. I told myself I was imagining it. Grief makes you paranoid, right? I thought maybe I was just sensitive, looking for cracks where none existed. Until one evening, when I went to get a glass of water at midnight, I saw her phone left on the counter, unlocked. A message glowed on the screen, a man's name I didn't recognize, and words that cut deeper than my father's death ever could. "I love how you say he's too lost in his own sadness to notice us." I remember the glass slipping from my hand, shattering across the floor. The sound woke her, and she rushed into the kitchen. Her face drained when she saw me standing there, her phone in my hand, the message still open. In that moment, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just looked at her and asked the only question that mattered. Why? Anna's lips trembled, but not with guilt, almost with irritation, like I had interrupted something she thought was justified. "David," she began, her voice soft but defensive, "you haven't been here." "Not really. I've been alone in this marriage for months." Her words stung, not because they were true, but because of the timing. Yes, I had been distant, but it wasn't out of choice. I was grieving, struggling to breathe under the weight of loss. Instead of seeing my silence as a wound, she saw it as a vacancy, an empty space she could fill with someone else. "You call that an excuse?" I whispered, trying to hold my voice steady. "My father had just died, Anna. I was mourning, and you found comfort in another man's arms." Tears welled in her eyes, but they seemed rehearsed, not raw. "You don't understand how it felt," she insisted. "I needed someone to talk to, someone who wasn't locked away in grief. He was there when you weren't. I never planned for this to happen." The betrayal hit me harder than her words. It wasn't just the affair, it was the way she twisted my pain into her justification. As if my suffering had somehow opened a door she was entitled to walk through. As if love meant loyalty only when it was easy. I sat down, my body heavy, my hands shaking. Memories of us together rushed through my mind. The vows we spoke, the nights we stayed awake dreaming about the future, the promises of forever. And now, forever had been traded for convenience, for comfort she couldn't wait to find elsewhere. "Who is he?" I finally asked, though part of me didn't even want to know. She hesitated, then said quietly, "His name is Mark. We met through work." It started with conversations. I didn't mean for it to go further. But you let it," I cut her off. My chest felt like it was caving in, the air thin around me. "While I buried my father, you were burying our marriage." Silence hung between us, thick and suffocating. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. In that silence, I realized something had broken, not just my trust, but the very foundation of what I thought love was supposed to mean. The days that followed felt like living inside a storm. Every corner of our house whispered reminders of what I had lost. Not just my father, but the woman I thought would stand by me through any storm. I could still hear Anna's voice echoing in my head, her excuse sharp as glass. "You were unavailable." I stopped arguing with her. What was the point? She wanted me to see her as the victim, to believe that loneliness justified betrayal. But the truth was simple. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about being present even in the darkest hours. And she chose to walk away when I needed her most. One evening, she tried to reach for me, her hands trembling. David, please, don't throw us away. We can fix this. I looked at her, really looked, and saw not the woman I married, but a stranger who had calculated my pain into her convenience. No, Anna, I said, my voice steady now. You threw us away. I just buried my father. Now, I'm burying the illusion that you ever truly loved me. Her face crumpled, but my heart felt strangely calm. For the first time since I discovered the truth, I wasn't drowning. I was surfacing. I packed a small bag that night. Not out of anger, but clarity. Sometimes betrayal doesn't need revenge. It needs distance. And as I closed the door behind me, I realized I wasn't walking away from her. I was walking back to myself. Weeks later, standing at my father's gravesite, I whispered words I hadn't been able to say before. I lost you, Dad. And I lost her too. But maybe I found something in the wreckage. The wind carried the leaves across the grass, and for a moment, I felt lighter. Pain has a way of burning away illusions, leaving behind something harder, sharper, truer. Anna wanted me to believe I was to blame, that grief excused her betrayal. But I knew better. I walked away not broken, but rebuilt. Sometimes the greatest betrayal isn't losing someone, it's realizing you deserve so much more than the excuse they gave for leaving you behind.